Hey, welcome back to Vox Terra. I thought a really important moment from the hearings, the January 6th insurrection hearings, was an interview, one of the interviews I heard with Al Schmidt. He was a Pennsylvania attorney, election official. And I went to Democracy Now! Just to grab a clip from that and a headline. Pennsylvania GOP election official tells January 6th committee his family faced death threats because of Trump. So here he described in these hearings how the threats he was facing before Donald Trump's tweet naming him versus after. And basically, he said the threats were more general before, like, you're walking into the lion's den here. And then more specific after Trump's tweet and more graphic, saying it included not just him by name, but members of his family, children, home address, pictures of his home, basically doxing him. Well, look, the reason I thought this was so important is because you know what? You don't have freedom if you're getting threatened by violence, and you don't have freedom if you don't have some privacy. Now, you could agree with that, no matter really what political beliefs you hold to. Let's face it. In some ways, and if you're an American, that is, it's really fairly conformist. The freedom's within certain boundaries. In what country aren't you free to go shopping and root for the home team? We all know, however you feel about an issue, if there's certain flags you fly, you might get rocked through your window by a neighbor. So that's the general populace having this kind of conformity while thinking they're free. But then there's also what the media isn't telling us about or underreporting. Like I give you the example before of this attorney named Stephen Donziger, and I'll cite you right to Amnesty International. He was also on The Daily Show. But other than that, pretty much ignored. He was under house arrest for a really long period of time over his involvement with a lawsuit. He sued Chevron over this toxic devastation with the oil industry in the Amazon. Then there's these things called SLAPP suits coming from these big business players against environmental activists, barely talked about in the media. So here you got this whole chilling thing, right? You got threats of violence if you step out of a boundary. You got threats of lawsuits if you step out of a boundary and maybe you go after a certain moneyed player. And then you got an activist even under arrest, not talked about. But also, let's say, now here I'm picking on the Trump, now here I'm picking on the January 6th rather than other issues, because another important thing to me, what I feel the media is not talking about, is they allow people to think Trump's really on their side because they're not exposing his campaign donations, his funding from fossil fuel petrochemical interests, and not highlighting things like his boosterism for that industry and the real health consequences of it, or examples like his administration allowing what was supposed to be a previously banned pesticide with known carcinogenic effects back on the market. There's many instances like that. So hey, I hope you found this video interesting, insightful, helpful. And if you did, please make sure you're subscribed. You're clicking that notification bell so you know when I'm putting up a new video. You're liking, you're commenting. And until next time, it is always, oh yeah, and please donate to Patreon. And until next time, it is always, peace be with you.